Thanks for stopping by to check out my latest video. I'm going to be talking about Jan.ai. This is part 2. If you didn't see part 1, you might want to go check that out, where I go into a lot of behind the scenes details about how to set it up and get it up and running on your own machine, and not using the installer executable, but doing it from the source code files. So in this video, there's some new features that are coming up. Also, there's been a new release, and I just kind of want to go through some of the details of that. Maybe you've never seen some of these things on the GitHub. Maybe you're very familiar with them, but I just wanted to walk through them. And as I mentioned here, it looks to me like one of the current features being worked on is allowing users to upload text files, PDFs, and documents. And I wanted to just kind of show that and talk through it a little bit. So thanks again for stopping by. Let's go ahead and get into the video details. Maybe you haven't heard of Jan.ai before. It allows you to bring AI right to your desktop on your local computer system. And as they say here on their homepage, it's open source. It's ChatGPT-like alternative that runs 100% offline. You can download an installer for your operating system. And also right here, they mention on the front page, they currently have 8,751 stars on GitHub with 416 people online on their Discord. So if you ever get stuck on anything, I would recommend that you go ahead and hop onto either the Discord and you can ask questions there, or you can get on the GitHub if you do find an issue and look for if an issue already exists. And we'll look at how that works here in this video. Also here, the view roadmap, we're going to be taking a look at that so we can see what's going on. There's a ton of work being done on this project, and it's very exciting. So here is something that I highlighted, something they mentioned on their onboarding page. Mastery: we are working in a frontier industry where there are no playbooks and expertise is developed by doing. Own your own area and build mastery. It's why it's exciting to be looking at all this new AI technology and working with it and learning about it and figuring out how we can use it in our lives, maybe in our businesses, and to help people out in general. Here I am on the GitHub page for Jan.ai. As they mention here, they do say it can run on any hardware, from PCs to multi-GPU clusters. It supports universal architectures like the NVIDIA GPUs, Apple Intel, Apple M series, Linux, and Windows 64. And if you want to do it quickly, you can download an executable for your environment and install that. If you're more interested in installing it manually, like I did in my first video, you can go watch that. I walk through it in detail on how to get it installed and running on Windows 11 and what you can expect in doing so. Let's go ahead and view the next page, which is the GitHub issues page. And we can see here there's 183 issues that are listed. And if you've never used this page before, it's very handy to just look for information. If you're having an issue with a product, you can go up to here in the upper right and just search for what you're looking for. You can also see if things have been classified as discussions or bugs, or if it's an enhancement, if it's specifically on Windows, and all these different like categories that have been tagged on these different issues. You can also see like if they're chores, if they're bugs over here, if it's going to be a feature. So I would recommend, if you are having an issue, you can come here first and check it out. Now we can see there's 792 that have been closed. That's quite a few. And 183 open. We have 47 different labels here. So we can see here all the different labels. And what do they mean? We'll be seeing some of these in the other screens. P0 is critical, mission critical. P1 is important. It's an important feature or a fix. P2 is a nice to have. And there's platform for Windows, platform for Mac, platform for Linux, or platform enterprise, server or cloud native related issues. And a lot more tags. So it's good to know where to go find those in case you're wondering what they mean when you're looking at these pages on GitHub. So here's an example. If you're having an issue with GPU, we can go ahead and type in GPU and hit enter, and it will filter the list. And here we can see different things that have been mentioned here on the GitHub page. There's 77 results that somewhere in it mentioned GPU acceleration, a feature, add GPU acceleration in advanced settings, a bug, toggle GPU accelerated on or off should stop the active model, and so forth. So again, if you're having some issues with GPUs or questions, you can come in here and look up the GPU filter. Back on the home page, we can see up here at the top, new version 0.45 is now live on GitHub. Check it out. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. Here is the releases tab, and we can see it was released recently within the last week. And we can scroll through this briefly to see the types of things that have been mentioned. There's categories of changes, categories of features, fixes that have been implemented, quite a few of those, maintenance that has been dealt with. We can see who contributed to the project here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this first feature here, update UI, allow user to change folder. We can mouse over this here and see a highlight. And if we click on it, we can go into the details. And here we can see reorder menu, advanced settings based latest design in Figma. And so they're showing the advanced settings and the Jan data folder, for example. Selecting, or the user selecting a new directory will show the dialog confirmation and will relaunch. So here it says relocate Jan data folder. Are you sure you want to relocate Jan data folder to and then wherever you selected? A restart will be required afterwards. Yes, proceed. So you may not have enough hard drive space on your C drive or your root folder, so you may need to change that. So this is again just one of many things that has been implemented in this version. Here is the wiki page. There's not a ton of information on this page right now, but let's go ahead and pull that up. And here we can see a definition of done, DOD, or definition of ready, DOR. And you can see the Git flow that they've mentioned here and how we have features and development branch and merging going on, and the main branch right here in the middle, and regression fixes. So you can see how they all work together to keep the software updated. Here is the project page. So I just get to it right here in the menu on GitHub. So projects, and then I'll just click on Jan. It does take it just a second to load. And here's a nice Kanban board. We can see here across the top, we have Kanban or Kanban Sprint, the Kanban roadmap, and we can see the labels that we looked at before. So we can click on those. If we're interested in platform Windows, we can click on that and see what's going on within that area. So let's go back. And we can also do things like looking at the roadmap of epics or roadmap of all. And so right here on this screen, we see number 1, which is important. Let's go ahead and click on that and see what we see inside of this epic. So right here, it's number 1076. It was opened on December 18th. We can see the milestone, the status, it's in QA, quality assurance. And the end date was supposed to be January 29th, 2024. done in their Sprint 5. So we can see right here, what is this? The epic is Jan has conversation-based RAG, but right here the objectives are allow users to upload text files, PDFs, documents within the chat interface, deliver a user-friendly file upload mechanism enabling seamless integration into the chat environment. And then we can look down here, the user stories, what's in scope. As a user, I want to be able to upload text files to the chat. The scenario, when I have a text file like a PDF or a document, I can upload it directly within the chat interface. The acceptance criteria is I should be able to select a file from my device and upload it to the chat window. As a user, I want to view the uploaded file's content. The scenario is upload a text file. I want to view its content displayed within the chat. And the acceptance criteria would be the chat interface should visually represent the uploaded file's content, making it accessible alongside the conversation. Number 3, as a user, I want to ask questions related to the uploaded file. Scenario, after uploading a file, I want to input prompts or questions about its content within the chat. Acceptance criteria, the chat interface should allow me to type prompts or questions linking them contextually to the specific file content for relevant responses. Next, number 4, as a user, I want to receive responses based on file-specific queries. When I input queries related to the uploaded file, I expect relevant and contextual responses within the chat. And the acceptance criteria would be the system should process my queries about the uploaded file, providing accurate and appropriate responses in the conversation thread. Number 5, as a user, I understand the limitations of uploading multiple files or multiple file uploads. When attempting to upload multiple files simultaneously, I should receive information about this limitation. The system should display notifications or error messages informing me that only one file can be uploaded at a time. And they go on to list some out of scope things. And there's also, if you're interested, you can click on the Figma links. So I'll go ahead and pull that up. I'm going to pause it for a second because it does take just a little bit to get it loaded. And just a little further here, engineering and architecture in scope is list of supported sources, parsable binary file with PDF or docx. Out of scope is a list of unsupported files, others. So let's go ahead and pull up the wireframe. I'll be right back. Quickly, before I pull that up, I did want to scroll down and just show or mention there is a lot of other conversation down here below, so you can check that out if you're more interested in these things. There is a diagram you can check out and just some additional information about the code and files that are involved and some settings it looks like. So let's go ahead and look at the wireframe. So here is the wireframe. I'm not going to go into details here, but you can click on that file, of course, and take a look yourself. Here we can see like add file, choose attach the image that you're going to see, sent message, attached image, what the desktop screen may look like, dropping a file, looks like drag and drop may be supported, and then just lots of other information. So give that a look if you're interested in the wireframe for that feature. I'm going to go ahead and close this Epic now. I think that'll be really interesting, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on this particular feature and see when it becomes available, because I would like to try it out myself. As I showed in my first video where I have everything up and running on a local computer, I want to be able to try that out and see how it works. Again, that was number 1 listed here on the roadmap of epics. And over here on the right side, you can see, if you scroll ahead, what the timeline looks like for different dates. and features and epics. Over here on the left, let's say we were interested in the roadmap for local file system. So let's click on that. And here we see the epic number 1494. Let's go ahead and click on that. And here we have the motivation, which is users, especially Windows, have discrete preferences for how to store or share assets like model binaries, model configs in the future. Other features, placing app files in the home directory messes up people's dev environments. Don't place critical files in home directory. Here we can see the specifications, so users can change the default Jan app data location, gives users control over how their own file system is used, good UX around error handling and interrupted migrations. If users mess up the Jan folder structure, it should be recoverable. No dangling files and no running various SH scripts to clean up data. So anyway, that's just, I think, another interesting epic to take a look at. Here I moved on to the table of sprints. So if you're interested, you can see what's coming up in Sprint 3, which is, or was, January 6th through January 19th. Sprint 4 was January 20th through February 2nd. If you're interested, you can do that, and of course filter and search for different features or bugs to see if the thing you need is going to be released in that anticipated sprint. I think this is another interesting view that you can take a look at. It's called Table All, and so you can see across the data table here what the title is, and they're like ranked from 1 to however many there are, what the status is it planned, is it in review, is it in progress, is it in the icebox, and so forth. What sprint is it listed in, and then the different labels, like are they important, are they feature requests, do they still need design, and so forth. So it's a nice way to be able to get a high level overview of what is going on in this project. If you were working on this project, here you could see my tasks. So you would see things in the icebox, things that were assigned to you, things planned or committed to deliver, things in progress, or things in review. And then if we scroll over to the right just a little bit, we can see if it was put into QA, quality assurance, or if it's been done, completed, or closed. So now I've jumped back to the very first tab here, which is the Kanban board. And again, you can do a search here if you're looking for something specific. We can see what is on the basically big to-do list here. Ones that don't have a status, ones that are in the icebox. So no status could be like the product backlog of things. The icebox, of course, are not committed, but would like to do at some point. Maybe it's in the planning stage. Planned are committed to deliver. So those are going to be things that we should see at some point in the future of the product. And then we can see the things that are in progress. And right now there's 20 of them. I think one of the interesting things here is the Jan AI mobile app. I'll definitely be watching that also. And I'm just scrolling down here to see what else. The Jan server, adding Ollama integration, adding LLM Studio, adding more open AI models, and many more things. So again, if you're interested in this product, you can come and check on this Kanban board from time to time to see what's going on. We can see things that are in review, things that are in quality assurance, so they'll be released pretty soon, more than likely. And then the things that have most recently been done. And there's 199 in this list. So lots of activity happening here. which is very exciting if you're interested in a tool like this. Alright, so we've taken a look at a lot of the different options and information available to us here on the Jan AI GitHub repository, a list of issues, a way to filter them. We didn't look at pull requests, a list of the projects and the wiki page, and then all the Kanban boards and different views of that. Lots of great information here. So I'm going to pull up just a few other pages about this product. A quick overview of the Jan product here, the Jan Desktop, which is the program you can download and install, or you can do like I did in my first video, which is to install it from the GitHub repo source code and have it build it locally on your computer and run it that way. That allows you to change the source code. And so yes, this is a ChatGPT alternative that runs on your own computer with a local API server. It's compatible with open source models, compatible with most OSs. It stores data in open file formats. It has a local API server mode. It's customizable via extensions. And of course, we looked at the roadmap and we can see all the different things in there. And they say here that they believe in the need for an open source AI ecosystem, that they're focused on building the infrastructure, tooling, and custom models to allow open source AIs to compete on a level playing field with proprietary offerings. And you can read more about their mission and culture on that page. And the Jan runs 100% on your own machine, as I showed on my machine. It's predictable, it's privately, and it's offline. No one else can see your conversations, not even them. It uses open file formats. It's open source. Again, very exciting product. I really like what's going on with this platform and with their tools and with so much work happening, as we saw in the Kanban boards and all of the tools. Some of the upcoming features, they all look very exciting. I will definitely be keeping an eye on these things in the future. I'm going to show this page real quick. It's about the user interface for Jan AI. So here Jan provides a UI kit for customizing the UI for whatever your use case is. It means you can personalize the entire application according to your own brand and your own visual styles. So this page just down below will take a look at the diagram of how to customize the UI. You can use some of the user interface components when you first open Jan. The ribbon, the left sidebar, main, right sidebar, status. So here we can see a good overview of what the user interface looks like. We can see all the different pieces, the left ribbon, the Jan Assist, the Assistant Store, the settings page, the profile, our status bar down here at the bottom. And then we can see the left sidebar with the list of threads and an additional menu. And in the middle, we have our thread view where we get started and what the initial state looks like. They show that, and then you can go to the settings models for more. And then there's a lot of options over here on the right sidebar for the default settings, and users can customize like at the thread level. And if you've seen how the product works in a demo, or maybe in my first video, you'll see all of these things working. But it's nice how they lay all this out. So if you're going to be looking at the code, you can kind of determine what area you need to be in order to make changes for whatever you need to customize. So I did want to point this out in case you haven't seen this diagram before. And they go on to tell a little bit more about the ribbon. Assistant shortcuts and modules settings show up there. The left sidebar, the conversation threads show up there. It's customizable, so custom assistants can add additional menu items. The main, that's the main view for interacting with the assistants. It's customizable, so custom assistants can add in additional UI components. By default, this is a chat thread with assistants. The right sidebar, that is a settings view for each thread. Users should be able to edit the settings or other configurations to customize the assistant experience within each thread. And the status bar, a global status bar that shows processes, hardware, disk utilization, and more. Again, if you saw my first video, you would actually see all of those different pieces working on my local computer system. I've gone back to the GitHub repo to look at the code. Right here, I'm in the settings folder, the advanced subfolder, and then in the data folder. And here, just as an example, I clicked on modal change directory.tsx, and here we can see the code that makes up that page. And what we saw earlier in the video, are you sure you want to relocate the Jan folder to? A restart will be required afterwards. So you can see how you can go in and find the area in the source code and then change it and go ahead and rerun it. That's one of 1,000 different ways that you can customize everything that you need within the code in this system. Well, there's just one last screen I wanted to point out to leave you with about Jan. Jan believes in the need for an open source AI ecosystem. They're focused on building the infrastructure and tooling to allow open source AIs to compete on a level playing field. Their long-term technical endeavor is to build a cognitive framework for future robots who are practical, useful assistants for humans and businesses in everyday life. There's some quick links here for the Jan framework, the Discord, and they go on to say here, why does Jan exist? The mission. Their current mission is to allow humans and businesses to own their own AI with the right to tinker, repair, and innovate. Their lifelong mission is to eliminate work so humans can focus on creation, invention, and moral governance over robots. The ideal customer is an AI enthusiast or business who has experienced some limitations with current AI solutions and is keen to find open source alternatives. Their ideal customer would use Jan to solve one of these problems: to have control, preventing vendor lock-in, stability, runs predictably every time, local use, for speed, for air-gapped environments, privacy, data protection, your personal data or company data, and customizability, so you can tinker, the ability to change the model, experiment with the code, as I just showed there for a moment. It's all there in the GitHub page. And you have niche models, fine-tuned domain-specific models that outperform OpenAI. And finally, the solution. It's a seamless user experience that runs on your personal computer that glues the different pieces of the open source AI ecosystem to provide an alternative to OpenAI closed platform. They build a comprehensive, seamless platform that takes care of the technical chores across the stack required to run open source AI. They run on top of a local folder of non-proprietary files that anyone can tinker with, yes, even other apps. They provide open formats for packaging and distributing AI to run reproducibly across devices. Jan is a startup with an open source business model. They believe in the need for an open source AI ecosystem, and they're committed to building it. They build in public, as we saw on GitHub. They use GitHub for everything: the Kanban boards, the roadmaps, and all the code and changes. That's all happening right before your eyes, and you can keep an eye on it. You can ask for new features and talk to them about bugs and issues. You can use the Discord server. So it's just a really great project. I think it's very exciting, and I will be following along and making other future videos about it. I again thank you for stopping by and checking out this video. I hope you found something interesting in it, and I will talk to you as soon as possible. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for watching.
If you like this channel, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when I post new content.